that balance and that relationship has got to be very clear when a team then is able to get forward through the flanks, and from there you'll open up spaces into the middle so that guys like Luis Montes and Carlos El Gulli Peña can then get space to play through the final third.
Valenzuela, Paul Aguilera waits for it. As Paul Aguilera was awaiting a chance to come back and start for the Mexican national side. His first start since that friendly we did in Phoenix back in, what was it, late January against Denmark.
And boy, did things look so differently and felt so differently there for Mexico that they do now.
For Mexico, Montes bringing it near post. Forcel to clear it was Yacubi. It's an important game for a lot of players in Mexico as they also compete for possessions against those who play in foreign leagues. For more on that, Miguel Layún plays it over to Raúl Jiménez. We'll go to John Sutcliffe when we get a chance. Oribe Peralta is Montes. Peña anticipated on that play by Schuller. The throw in by Mexico. Aguilar, Montes. We said an important game for a lot of Mexican players tonight. John.
No question, some players are under the microscope. Raúl Jiménez, I've been told Aldo de Nigris would get some minutes in the second half because with Chicharito Hernandez scoring goals in Manchester United, I think Chicharito, and he can play against New Zealand on November 13th. Those are two players, Antonio Nael Sonsiña, Miguel Herrera, the center back. As I was saying at the opening, there's 7 players plus Rafa Marquez and Oribe Peralta. They have proven themselves mostly with Miguel Herrera. It's about the players he doesn't know. So I think it's going to be interesting, these minutes for Raúl Jiménez and also Aldo de Nigris, because Chicharito is doing good stuff lately in Manchester United.
Thank you, John. As Raúl Jiménez plays it over to Oribe Peralta. Chicharito Hernandez scored 2 in the last Manchester United game against Norwich City, putting Manchester United in the quarterfinals of the League Cup. Forcel, and his turnaround goes out of bounds. That's also a sign of how quickly Finland can get upfield.
And also a sign of how exposed Mexico has become defensively. And for all the things that you could say about Chepo de la Torre and his defensive scheme and his defensive posture, this team did not give up a lot of goals. Now, perhaps, in getting numbers forward, you also take chances in the back. And we've seen it in that Mexico lately has had a tendency of giving up goals in bunches.
Yacubi. Layún. Medina. There's Paul Aguilar again. Rafa Marquez running upfield. Jiménez. Marquez. Look at Rafa Marquez. He's fouled. No. No call by Chris Penso. Long ball for Michael Forcel. Will not be able to keep it in play. With the World Cup 7 months away, the U.S. national team starts its preparation for Brazil by facing Scotland on November 15th at historic Hampden Park in Glasgow. 2:55 Eastern on ESPN2, and watch ESPN as the U.S. against Scotland. Jimenez. Montes. Layún out wide. Layún trying to get it back. Clear by Hurme, the goal scorer for Finland. The goal scorer for Mexico, the one that opened things up here in San Diego. Rafa Marquez with a long ball. Well brought down by Paul Aguilar. Schuller. Nothing happening from Robin Lod.
And earlier we were talking about how direct Mexico, or how more direct Mexico has become with Miguel Herrera. And you can see that when Rafa Marquez gets the ball with time and space, he's looking to change that point of attack, to hit that long ball if he can. And once he creates that space and he's able to find either Paul Aguilar or Miguel Layún down the flanks, then that opens up spaces for Mexico in attack. Finland having a really difficult time down the left-hand side. Thomas Ranankari unable to account for Paul Aguilar time and time again in 1-2 situations, give-and-go situations. Ranankari is late to the play.
Another throw-in for Mexico. Valenzuela takes it. Shot by Raúl Jiménez. Schuller. Suddenly Schuller again. That's Yagubi. Moshtaq Yagubi, who plays for FC Honka, 18 years old. His first international appearance. Rasmus Schuller is 22. Here's Yagubi again. Looking for Forsell. Plays it back, Ranankari. The cross lot can't reach it. Sorsa. Well played onside. Corner kick for Finland now.
Very well done by Finland in attack. Good interchange, good movement with and without the ball, creating a lot of problems for Mexico in the last few minutes.
That's the first corner kick for Finland. Cleared away by De Broche Peralta. Look at how many. There were 4 blue shirts all on their own right there in the middle of the park. Urme. Ranankari. Yagubi. Schuller. Cross by Schuller. A hit fortunately in the hands. Inadvertently, says Chris Benso, the referee. Sorsa. Good run of play by Finland. Coming up on the Sion halftime report, we'll hear from the guys back at the ESPN FC studio on the upcoming UEFA World Cup qualifiers, as well as take a look at the first half highlights. Sorsa with a throw-in for Finland in the last minute of the first half. We're seeing the best of the Scandinavian side. Well played by Senelli, but it hit him. Well, being cleared away by Miguel Layún. Goal kick for Mexico. Layún. It's a lot of things Miguel Herrera has seen this first half, for good and bad.
Yeah, I think it's been a positive first half for Mexico, but yet, as we've seen in 2013, they do good things, and then somehow they just all of a sudden lose possession of the ball, allow too much time in transition for Finland. Finland builds some momentum and gets back into the game. So rather than putting the game away, they allow Finland to hang around in the game, and it's making it somewhat difficult for Mexico.
Rafa Marquez and Carlos Peña made it 2-0 for Mexico, only for Jarko Urme to get one back for Finland. It's 2-1 here in San Diego between Mexico and Finland. This halftime report is presented by the new 2014 Scion TC, made to go the distance.
Honey, I got this. We got this, right? Dry cleaning done. Gift for your aunt. Done.
Today we're going to be talking about your body after baby.
Yep, we're done. Okay, let's get some lunch. Yes! All right. Yes, honey, all natural, everything. Done. Ah, I forgot to check. Done.
On your phone, online, on the go. Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
Here you go. Adaptive One Brakes, guaranteed noise-free for life.
Noise-free?
Yeah, thanks to Napa know-how.
Hey, Brakes. Dude, sorry about last night. You're still mad at me?
They don't make a sound.
Brakes. Come on, hug it out. Hug it out. Insist on Adaptive One Brakes.
I want that feeling again, of that champagne bash, the confetti.
We fight! We fight! We fight! We fight! Let's go!
The expectations have grown here in Brooklyn. Our goal is to win a championship.
We have a lot to prove, so we have to come out firing.
We gotta get back there. We gotta have a chance to win another ring.
The NBA returns on ESPN. Heat Nets at 8 Eastern. Spurs Lakers at 10:30. Presented by State Farm. Friday on ESPN.
I joined Christian Mingle because I wasn't meeting the people out in the community where I was at.
I finally saw him, and after that, it just clicked.
Without Christian Mingle, I have no idea how we could have met.
Join ChristianMingle.com today.
The Fantasy Sports Hall of Fame presents former accountant Derek Bradley. DraftKings One Day Fantasy Football took him from a guy with holes in his underpants to a guy with bikini models in them.
How do they do it?
DraftKings.com. They have one-day games, so you're not locked in. It's like a new season every time you play. And best of all, you could win a shipload of money. Use promo code KICK to play and get free entry into the Millionaire Grand Final. Be crowned a fantasy football millionaire. Get to DraftKings.com.
Christian Mingle was the only one that had to offer exactly what I was looking for.
When we chatted, it was just that connection that you want to have with someone that you would love to marry.
I am so grateful for Christian Mingle.
Join ChristianMingle.com today.
Welcome into our ESPN FC studios with Craig Burley, Steve Nickel, Taylor Twellman. I'm Max Bredos. We'll get you back out to the second half of Mexico-Finland, but we're getting closer to finding the identity of all 32 teams that will be playing in the World Cup in Brazil next summer. The 8 teams remaining in UEFA will be down to 4. Here's how it looks. Of course, the big game is going to be Portugal, Sweden, star power aplenty there. And you can see the percentage to qualify benefits the teams on the left of your screen. And Craig, well, let's start with the star attraction. Portugal the favorites, but do you see Sweden possibly, with Zlatan, able to turn the plot there?
Yeah, I mean, I think Sweden have always been a really hard-working team with a little bit of flair. I mean, previously to Zlatan, it was Henrik Larsson, although the two of them played together. But the form that Ibrahimovic is in just now, I mean, we're looking, along with Ronaldo, for Portugal at 2 potential match winners. So I don't know how they work out these percentages. If I'm being honest with you, I really think that one's in the balance.
It's a very magical coefficient that we put it in there.
It seemed to be.
Steve, let's stick with that game.
It's a tough one to call. I mean, you look at the strong physicality of the Swedish side, allied to the top man in Ibrahimovic. I mean, it really, for me, if Sweden go through, it's going to be because of his goals. On the other hand, you got Portugal. Nani always plays so much better for Portugal than he does for Man United.
That's a good point.
Of course, Ronaldo.
Well, that wouldn't be difficult, would it?
Well, that's true, considering he had to play half the time. But I think the flair of Portugal at the end is going to come out on top.
And I think the experience of Portugal being in this situation before, I think it will come through. The supporting cast is a great point as well. Hey, I ask you guys as fans, who do you want in the World Cup? Do you want Zlatan or do you want Cristiano Ronaldo?
It's a question you can't answer because they
Well, I just asked it, though.
Well, they both are just, they bring so much to the table, so much quality.
It'd be a shame for one of them not to be there, but that's the reality.
I mean,
But that's the reality. You want Cristiano Ronaldo in the World Cup.
There's lots of things in life that would be a shame, as you well know. But they both can't go.
No.
I think I'd like to see Ronaldo there.
Agreed.
And Portugal, top to bottom, have a lot more star power on their squad. The French will have Ukraine. Ukraine had some experience in the big stage at Euros the last time out. Do you think they pose any threat to this French team?
I think they pose a threat because they've got some talented players, but they were in England's group, and I thought, to be honest, they were very average.
Agreed.
And so were England. So I thought the opportunity for them was to get out of that group. The French, for me, have got a lot more flair. You know, we talk about Ribéry and people like that. Their squad is so much better.
They do leave you a little frustrated, the French, from time to time, Steve. Do you see them having a frustrating run here against a testy Ukrainian?
I think it's possible. I mean, they've got so much star quality, but at the end of the day, there's only 2 players in this qualification that scored more than 1 goal, and that's Giroud and Benzema. And for me, Benzema you can't rely on.
Nope.
And Giroud hasn't quite proved it for me.
But you almost feel like they were in the same group as Spain. Yeah. They were playing for this playoff anyways.
But on the other hand, you look at the Ukraine, I mean, they've spread their goals around. They've got Koplia Planka on 4 and a few other guys on 3. So they spread the wealth around. That could be the difference. Yeah. Am I going to plump for Ukraine? No, but
well, you've just made an argument for them.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Real quickly, guys, the most important question I'll ask you.
Iceland's going to go.
Yeah, Iceland looks to be the smallest country. You think so? They can beat Croatia?
For one reason why. Our colleague Shaka Hislop always reminds us about Trinidad and Tobago being the smallest country to ever play in the World Cup. Iceland's going.
That's good enough reason for you guys as well, I presume.
Hey, Scotland loses place to Scotland. Isn't he going through?
The debate rages on November 15th and 19th. Catch us tomorrow on ESPN FC. A double dip. 5:30 Eastern Time for the Ghosts on the West Coast. 2:30. Back out to the second half of your day.
That's beautiful. It's like poetry.
Before he was Sunday NFL Countdown's Chris Berman, he turned highlights into the main event.
And he could go all the way.
Before that, his voice gave new life to old names.
It's the New York Football Giants.
And before that, he could make games exciting even in a tweed jacket. Now he brings 35 years of experience every week. So before you watch the games, watch Sunday NFL Countdown, Sundays at 10 on ESPN.
Tequila shots, please.
Which tequila?
Doesn't matter. Any tequila. Doesn't matter. Any haircut. It doesn't matter. Any tattoo. It doesn't matter. Any place.
Maybe we should order Hornitos tequila.
You know what? Make it Hornitos.
100% pure agave tequila. Hornitos, not just any tequila.
Hola a todos. Hey, guess what, guys? I got my first paycheck today.
I'm so proud of you, sweetheart.
Thanks, Dad. Mi mamá.
The bookstore job is great, but your studies come first.
I know, Mom. Hey, what's up?
Hey, Christian.
Ay, mira qué linda. She's taking a picture of her check. Deposit done. I want a framed picture of that, okay? Lista, bonita.
On your phone, online, on the go. Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
Here you go. Adaptive One brakes, guaranteed noise-free for life.
Noise-free?
Yeah, thanks to Napa know-how.
Hey, brakes. Dude, sorry about last night. You're still mad at me?
They don't make a sound.
Brakes. Come on, hug it out. Hug it out. Insist on Adaptive One brakes.
When you need to lock on with a firm hold, you usually don't have an extra hand. That's why there's the new Magnum Grip locking pliers from Cobalt. Traditional locking pliers are in just about every toolbox, but they can be a hassle to use. But with Magnum Grip, close the parallel jaws, squeeze to lock, and your work's secure. The forged alloy steel jaws move parallel, then lock to give you a firm grip. The thumb screw controls the pressure applied by the jaws, and the Magnum grip adjusts to open wider to lock onto material up to 1 3/8. Now you can clamp to get your job done quickly and easily, or hold material while you weld or grind. Magnum grip, the no-hassle way to get a rock-solid hold on your work.
Cobalt has reinvented locking pliers with Magnum Grip, which adjust and lock in a single motion. Buy today and get the standard pliers and the compact pliers. This set will make a great gift. And when you buy online or by phone, you get 2 storage holsters, yours free, exclusively at Lowe's.
This halftime report is presented by the new 2014 Scion TC, made to go the distance. As we welcome you back into Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, Mexico is leading 2-1. They've been in Finland with goals by Rafa Marquez and Carlos Peña, with the lights out at the queue after Jesse and Joy, the multiple Latin Grammy winners, had just finished a short version of their usually highly publicized concerts with Alejandro Moreno. Fernando Palomo has been highly publicized that Miguel Herrera will change things in the Mexican national team. Has he done so over 45 minutes?
I think so. Over 45 minutes, what you saw was a more direct Mexican national team playing with a back three, and those wingers, Miguel Layún and Paul Aguilar, playing a very big role in the way that Mexico attacks. Of course, Carlos Gulli Peña, the work that he's doing out of the middle of midfield, and Luis Montes also have shown a lot of positive things.
In the same token, most things remain the same, as Mexico has had problems defending all year round. Club America has had problems defending as well, and they've shown so, as most of the players that make up this national team are coming from Club America. These are not just any places. Hornitos is not just any tequila. The highlights of the match, the first one coming in the 11th minute as Rafa Marquez is in to meet with a header after a Luis Montes free kick. That's the first one for Mexico.
Yeah, and we talked about the importance of the wide play, and again, Miguel Layún with the early cross, off the rebound, Luis Montes with a shot. Good save by the goalkeeper.
The second one will come from probably one of the best players in the Mexican national side of the course of the last couple of games, Carlos Peña, in the finish. A great give and go by him and Oribe Peralta. He finds it up the middle, and El Culit puts it 2-0.
But once again, Mexico struggling defensively, unable to deal with the rebound of the set piece. And then on the layback, Jacob Urme roofs it. Good finish by Urme as the ball is played back to him. No chance for Moises Moy Muñoz.
In his 7th appearance with the Finland national side, that's his first international goal. But then again, after that goal, in the next play, Luis Montes with the shot that rattled the crossbar. It's 2-1 for Mexico so far after 45 minutes. A lot to be said for the way that Mexico has played, certainly with some sense of idea, at least, as you said, with the wide play being the main play of action here in the first half.
Yeah, trying to exploit the play out of the flanks from Miguel Layún and Paulo Aguilar, and then that opens up spaces in the middle for Carlos Gulli Peña, his willingness to get into pockets of space in front of the back four, and then of course you get the work from Oribe Peralta up top that allows then for Raúl Jiménez to also open up some space in the 18-yard box.
We'll be coming to the second half after the break. Jesse and Joy had a joyful time here at the queue, entertaining the crowd that has made it over to San Diego to watch the Mexican national side, the brother and sister duo and multiple Latin Grammy winners, Jesse and Joy, and with them we go to break. After that, the second half. This halftime report is presented by the new 2014 Scion TC, made to go the distance.
Uh-huh. Honey, I got this. We got this, right? Dry cleaning done. Gift for your aunt. Done.
Today we're going to be talking about your body after baby.
Yep, we're done. Okay, let's get some lunch. Yes! All right. Yes, honey, all natural, everything. Done. Ah, I forgot to check. Done.
On your phone, online, on the go. Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
Here you go. Adaptive One brakes, guaranteed noise-free for life.
Noise-free?
Yeah, thanks to Napa know-how.
Hey, brakes. Dude, sorry about last night. You're still mad at me?
They don't make a sound.
Brakes. Come on, hug it out. Hug it out. Insist on Adaptive One brakes.
I want that feeling again, of that champagne bash with confetti.
We fight! We fight! We fight! We fight! Let's go!
The expectations have grown here in Brooklyn. Our goal is to win a championship.
We have a lot to prove, so we have to come out firing.
We gotta get back there. We gotta have a chance to win another ring.
The NBA returns on ESPN. Heat Nets at 8 Eastern. Spurs Lakers at 10:30. Presented by State Farm. Friday on ESPN.
This is Life Alert. Are you okay?
I've fallen and I can't get up.
I'm calling for help right now.
When you are injured and seconds count, Life Alert is there for you.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Life Alert has helped me by saving my life.
My husband is alive because of Life Alert.
Life Alert saved my life.
I would give up anything in order to continue having Life Alert.
Life Alert saves a life from a catastrophe every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-841-9430. That's 1-800-841-9430. Don't delay. Call now for a free brochure at 1-800-841-9430. That's 1-800-841-9430. Once again, 1-800-841-9430.
Welcome back to the international friendly between Mexico and Finland, presented by Hornitos Tequila. Alongside Alejandro Moreno, Fernando Palomo with you. John Sutcliffe on the field will be joining us momentarily. Welcome back to San Diego. 2-1 for Mexico after 45 minutes. Alejandro, so far Miguel Herrera should be pleased by what he has seen from midfield up. But Mexico allowing Finland to get back into the game towards the end of the first half.
And you said it very well, Fernando. In the attacking half, Mexico has been more direct, perhaps more creative, more explosive than what we have seen in the past in 2013, taking players on down the flanks, Miguel Layún and Paul Aguilar being very active, providing service for the guys in the middle, and also opening up space for Carlos Gulli Peña and Luis Montes. Now, of course, the counterpart to that is the fact that Mexico gets exposed defensively. And as much as we like to talk of the experience that Maza Rodriguez as well as Rafa Marquez bring to the back line, we also have to say that Mexico in the back has allowed space for Finland. And in the latter part of that first half, Finland was shifting the momentum, carrying the momentum, and creating some opportunities.
Once again, this is the one and only match that Mexico will play before the 13th of November when they face New Zealand in the first leg of the playoffs for Brazil 2014. Then halfway across the world, over 6,800 miles, to Westpac Stadium and Wellington, the major population center in the northern island of New Zealand. The 13th of November is the first leg. The 20th of that same month, a week after that, will be going to New Zealand. Of course, not in a straight line. Our flights will take us first to LAX, then to Auckland, and 24 hours later to Wellington. Back to John Sutcliffe. John.
As we expected, some changes for Miguel Herrera in the second half. Moises Muñoz, goalkeeper, comes out. Jesus Chuy Corona comes in from Cruz Azul. And also Raúl Jiménez is out, and Aldo de Nigris. As I said in the first half, I think it's 45 minutes key for Aldo de Nigris to have a good game so he can maintain himself in the roster for the New Zealand game. Also warming up, we should expect to see him at some point, is Antonio Naelso Ciña, the last roster call-up for Miguel Herrera a couple of days ago.
Thank you, John, as we get underway in the second half with Alejandro Moreno, Fernando Paloma with you, Luis Montes giving it away as Finland also makes some substitutions. This is Team Varinen giving it away on the side to Lod. Varinen, as that cross goes nowhere, will be a goal kick for Mexico. Team Varinen, we see no Michael Forsell on the field. Here's a look at Aldo de Nigris. Went over to Confederations Cup, did not see any action. 1 goal in the last 10 games for the Mexican national team. Montes cannot gather it up the middle. Also for Finland, Sebastian Strandvall in the game. The shot takes a deflection. Goal! Oribe Peralta! The 3 Warriors on the board. The brush does it again. This makes it 6 goals in the last 6 games for Mexico, scored by Oribe Peralta.
And it's good interchange between Oribe Peralta, Carlos El Bulli Peña, Aldo de Nigris, impacting the game right away. Layoff to Oribe Peralta, and the brush, El Cepillo Peralta, once again gets his name on the scoreboard for the Mexican national team. Nothing that Silampa could do once the ball was deflected in front of him. Peralta, De Nigris, Peña get together, and Peralta with the final shot on goal. Good build-up by Mexico.
And here comes Mexico again with Layun. Waiting for it is Carlos Peña. Layun making his run up the middle, getting away from one. Shoved away was Layun by Robin Lott. Asking for it, Varinen. Intercepting it, Rafa Marquez. And he's making a run upfield, but his pass on to the side to Paul Aguilar goes nowhere. A throw-in for Finland. Varinen.
In the first half, Fernando, we mentioned briefly about Carlos El Bulli Peña. And in this case, Carlos El Bulli Peña once again involved in attack in the build-up. And the shot of Oribe Peralta comes off the back of Miko Sumesalo. Nothing that Silampa could do. He was leaning to the left, the ball deflected to the right, no chance for the goalkeeper.
3 substitutions made by Mikko Patinen, the Finland national coach. Montes. Paul Aguilar. Peña. De Nigris. Aguilar. Backheel for Aldo de Nigris, the Guadalajara. Only call-up from Guadalajara by Miguel Herrera this time around. Montes, Peña.
And you talk about Chivas Guadalajara, and we know that he has to bother Jorge Vergara, owner of Chivas Guadalajara, the fact that when Mexico got in trouble, they turned to Club America as the team that would be able to get Mexico out of trouble. And they turned to Miguel El Piojo Herrera. And Chivas Guadalajara has certainly become an afterthought because, well, they are struggling in Liga MX. They can't find consistency, and they don't have enough players that are difference makers and national team level players.
Senelli. Still Finland ball. With Jorge Vergara, the Chivas president, was sitting on the table that made the decision to bring in Miguel Herrera on board. Marinen wins the corner kick. Early on in the year, Chepo de la Torre called 5 players from Club America to play in the first friendly against Denmark. It's been 7 years since that many players from Las Águilas have been called up. La Volpe called that many back in 2006. Varinen going for a Tapio Heikkilä. Urme back for Sebastian Sorsa. Take another look at the third goal by the Mexican national team.
Good layoff by Carlos El Gulli Peña. Oribe Peralta strikes it well, laces through the ball, the deflection of Amico Sumusalo, and Silampa leaning the wrong way.
As that look from behind one of the goals give us a sense of where the ball was going, had it not taken a deflection, that shot by Oribe Peralta would have been a goal kick for Finland. Therefore, Carlos Peña brings it in. Paul Aguilar, his cross becomes a corner kick for Mexico. Therefore, I should say Sumusalo should be awarded with an own goal.
So you're going to take the goal away from Oribe Peralta?
I'm saying I'm going to hand it over to Sumusalo as an own goal.
Such a hater.
Not that, it's just that the shot was going out of bounds. Had it not hit Sumusalo, we're not going to be handing goals for free. Oribe probably could have a chance to get another one of his own.
How can you do that to El Cepillo? The brush.
Sure, he's not going to kill. The corner kick by Medina. Aguilar first to meet the ball. Rafa Marquez trying to keep it in bounds. Brought down and fouled. A free kick for Mexico on the side. But then again, there's another sense of that leadership that Rafa Marquez provides. Going for that ball, sprinting a much younger Jarko Hurme and beating him on the sprint as well.
What he did was bait Jakob Urme into fouling Rafa Marquez. Rafa Marquez had nowhere to go. Urme gets impatient, and once Rafa Marquez feels just the slightest of contacts, he was always going to go down.
Once again, the set pieces, Marquez near post. There's Oribe Peralta's header going over the crossbar. 8 minutes on in the second half. 3-1 for Mexico. And a look at Ciña coming in. Antonio Naelson Matias Ciña at 37. Not a surprise call-up, as most have said, and we have said here as a commentary team, that Mexico lacks the creativity when space becomes an issue. And Ciña brings that creativity to the Mexican national side.
What he brings as well is an ability to find spaces. And once he finds the spaces, he has the ability to find the passes or take players on one-on-one situations in the final third for Mexico.
Luis Montes comes out and Ciña comes in, and we bring John Sutcliffe from more on the Brazilian national.
we have to take into account that Lucas Lobos was a player in mind for Miguel Herrera to be a starter today, to be a starter against New Zealand. The player from Tigres has a personal problem. One of his kids has some health issues, so he brings in Antonio Nelson Senior. And what happened is minutes of Senior, it's important to see how his level is. He is that difference maker in the sense that he is creative, he's smart, he's savvy. And these minutes could be key to see if Senior will be called back for the New Zealand games.
Here's New Zealand with Varinen, Urban, an own goal. Makes it 3-2. As the ball hits Topo Valenzuela. The cross was looking at Fancinelli, or looking to find Fancinelli. Once again, Mexico allowing Finland to come back into the game. It's 3-2, an own goal.
And it's Rafa Marquez losing possession of the ball. El Topo Valenzuela trying to clear the ball. It may bounce of Fancinelli, perhaps an own goal. In the end, the turnover coming out of the bag by Rafa Marquez allows Team Varinen to play a dangerous ball into the near post, and from there, either Fancinelli or El Topo Valenzuela make it 3-2 for Mexico.
Paul Aguilar. So according to my way of seeing things, it's 2 own goals in the second half that have the scoreline 3-2 now. Rafa Marquez. Peña. Oribe Peralta. Senior on the field, still not being able to get a touch of the ball. Player that made his first appearance for the Mexican national side back in 2004. Looking at it again, I think it's old Topo Valenzuela on that one. What do you think?
Well, perhaps it's old Topo Valenzuela, but you have to ask questions of Rafa Marquez. He's trying to draw a foul. He doesn't get the call from the referee. Goes down very easily. Team Biden and then gets a hold of the ball, gets possession of the ball, plays a dangerous ball into the near post. And El Topo Valenzuela seems like he put it in the back of the net for the own goal.
Massa. Layun, Urme, Henry Silampa.
By the way, El Topo Valenzuela, would that be the go for Valenzuela?
Correct translation, yes.
Well, there you go. We're gonna call Peralta El Cepillo the brush. I'm just saying, consistency.
Aguilar, Senior. Too long for Oribe Peralta. Antonio Nelson last played for the Mexican team back in October of 2012 against Guyana in the previous round of World Cup qualifying. Born in Itaja, in Rio Grande do Norte in Brazil. An interesting case as well, because he's called up to the Mexican national side just a couple of months after he announced that the following summer will be the end of his professional career. Rafa Marquez. Valenzuela. From Rafa Marquez over to the side to Layun, back to Rafa Marquez. #114th game for Rafa Marquez. Makes him the most experienced, having no Gerardo Torrado or Salcido on the squad. We probably have seen the last of those two in this set of Mexican national team action. Aguilar close to being fouled, the give and go. with Peralta. Peña up the middle to Sina. His shot over the bar. Nice play up the middle as Jesus Escobosa gets ready to come into the game.
Nice interchange again by Mexico in transition. Paul Aguilar cutting inside, looking to combine. Carlos El Bully Peña involved once again. Lays the ball off to Sina, and Sina puts his laces through the ball, but over the bar.
Escobosa wearing number 17, replacing Carlos Peña. The evaluation over an hour of play, I could guess it's a positive one over Carlos Peña's play.
Very good. I thought Carlos Peña, thought he was good in the last couple of games for Mexico, and I thought tonight once again he showed what he can bring to this team, his willingness to get forward, his willingness to step into the 18-yard box, and tonight he rewarded his efforts with a very nice goal in the first half.
Lost once again by Finland in the middle of the field. They are also looking to make a substitution. Another one here in the second half as Valtteri Moren gets ready to come in. Cross by Layun, the shot by Layun. As Escobosa makes his international debut, so does Valtteri Moren from Finnish national champions Hojiko. Out comes Jarkko Hurme. Who scored the first one for Finland and also was the only yellow-carded player on the field. Here's Escobosa. The shot, well taken by Henry Silampa. Sina. Aguilar. Juan Carlos Valenzuela. José de Jesús Corona. Corona has played 13 of the 23 games that Mexico has played over the course of the year. Now a new coach comes in, has to sit out to Moises Muñoz in his first Miguel Herrera game. Previously with Víctor Manuel Vucetich. Vucetich preferred Ochoa to Corona.
And it must be said that José de Jesus Corona early on in the hexagonal in 2013, he was perhaps the most valuable player, the MVP performer for this team, as he kept Mexico in a lot of games where Mexico should have probably given up a bunch of goals.
Aguilar. Nicely done by Sina. Sina with a lot of space. Gives it back, Massa. Massa Rodriguez way up the field, being able to get a shot on goal. Strandval looking to get it. It's Massa Rodriguez again. Sina with a one-touch. They were looking for Varinen. MLS action this coming Sunday. Two teams that trailed Portland in the Western Conference standings now face each other in the playoffs. Robbie King and the Galaxy against Alvaro Saborío and Real Salt Lake. Oribe Peralta onside. Oh, Alex Cosa. Goal for Mexico. Escobosa on his first international game gets his first goal for El Tri. It's 4-2.
And this is all about the hold-up play by Oribe Peralta. Good turn, quick feet in tight spaces. Finds Jose Escobosa. Escobosa finding the far post. Nothing that Henry Silampa could do. All about the brush. Oribe Peralta once again. Strength, balance, vision. Finding Escobosa, and Escobosa with a nice finish to the far post.
Paul Aguilar, as Layuna and Rafa Marquez come out of the game. Irán Mier makes his way as a center back. Massa Rodriguez is now the captain for Mexico. Once again, the captain, as the last time he wore the captain's armband was in the Confederations Cup against Brazil. Brought down Senior, no foul. Finland having a hard time connecting upfield with Varinen. Down to John Sutcliffe for more.
Couple of changes, Edwin Hernandez for Miguel Layún, but the interesting part of the change of Irán Mier.
The cross by Paul Aguilar.
Yeah, I was saying that it was interesting in the sense that Piojo Herrera looked at Rafa Marquez like to ask him, you know, said, okay, you're coming out. And Rafa said, okay, and then he called up Irán Mier. A little bit of the communication Miguel Herrera is having with Rafa Marquez. It's not common when a coach looks at a player to warn him he's coming out.
So Edwin Hernandez would now be playing on the left side of this midfield, if you want to call it that, for Mexico. Three in the back with Irán Mier, Valenzuela, and Massa Rodriguez. With Paul Aguilar and now Hernandez out wide. That was Mier. Varinen playing it back. Haikila. Over on the side, Sorsa. Schuller. Back for Senelli. Schuller, his cross. Now, these are some types of mistakes that Mexico cannot afford to make. Varinen not being able to find Strandberg. Now Escobosa. Seen very little of Aldo de Nigris in the second half.
Fernando, to your point about some of the mistakes from Mexico defensively, whenever Finland has been able to put together a few passes, whenever they have committed a few numbers in attack, Mexico looks nervous when defending. There's a lot of last-ditch defending, a lot of sort of reaching out for the ball, hopeful that they can get it in the path of a pass. The organization of Mexico in the back must improve going into the playoffs against New Zealand.
John mentioned earlier that available for that first playoff game is Javier Hernandez, who most thought had gotten a yellow card in the last game against Costa Rica, therefore taking him over the limit and suspending him for the first leg. But Hernandez was not reported as having seen a yellow card in that game in San Jose, therefore is available for Miguel Herrera to be called up for the New Zealand game. Another look at the goal by Escobosa in an offside position. Escobosa.
Well, you just want to take goals away from people tonight, huh?
Just saying what I'm seeing.
All right, okay.
There's Escobosa back for Massa.
Let's appreciate your accurate reporting, I suppose.
Escobosa again. on the side to Paul Aguilar. Here's Ciña. Can find it to make it a give and go with Aldo de Nigris.
Fernando, I think that's an interesting question, and not only Javier Chicharito Hernandez, but how does Miguel Herrera fit the European-based players into this picture? Or perhaps the better question is, will he fit the European-based players into this picture?
Can he afford not to call them when players like Chicharito Hernandez have had such a great run of late for Manchester United, for example? Giovanni Dos Santos scored last Sunday against Valencia in Spanish League action. It's an uncomfortable foreign legion so far for Miguel Herrera.
And Giovanni Dos Santos coming out with quotes saying that the European-based players get blamed for everything. I got to tell you, Giovanni, you play in the best leagues in the world. There's an expectation as to what is it that you're supposed to do with your national team. It comes with the territory of being a successful player abroad.
He also said that when he comes to the national team, he's played out of position of where he plays with Villarreal, for example. For more on the foreign legion of all three, let's go down to John Sutcliffe.
Fernando, since the first day Miguel Herrera was announced as the national head coach, he said he would call one or maybe two European-based players. What I've been hearing, what my sources tell me, even though he hasn't decided 100%, and he's going to do it tonight because he has the 2 weeks to make it official to the teams, is two players. Javier Chicharito Hernandez, who's gaining better form, scoring goals with Manchester United, and the other is Diego Reyes. Diego Reyes from Porto, Portugal. He knows how to play the line of five. He was champion with America under Miguel Herrera. I've even heard that they would like to get him in loan and put him to play next year if Mexico plays for the World Cup and have him with America. So I wouldn't be surprised. Diego Reyes and Chicharito are the two players called up.
Thanks, John. As Finland had a run with Erfan Senelli going into the box. Seeing interesting things out of Senelli, especially here in the second half. Paul Aguilar. Erfan Senelli, a 26-year-old late bloomer, if you wish, impressing in his 8th season for Jojico. Scored 8 goals, or I should say 11 goals, and 17 assists for the Finnish national champions.
Fernando, if we go back briefly to the Giovanni Dos Santos situation, when he talks about playing out of position with the national team, well, yes, of course, on paper, it would make sense that you play the same position with your national team as you would with your club team. But the fact of the matter is that if we've seen Giovanni Dos Santos play this year time and time again, and we have seen a player that has had freedom to move about in the final third for Mexico, come inside, go out wide, on the left, on the right. The problems with Giovanni Dos Santos and his performance have very little to do with what position he's playing, as much as they do with the fact that he has lacked attitude, he has lacked consistency in his level of play, and he has not impacted the game he should in the way that Mexico expects them to.
Ciña. Has it all become a question of attitude with the Mexican players? Well, I think it is losing the ball.
I think it's a big part of it. I don't think there's any question that Mexico has very talented players. But for whatever reason, in 2013, whenever they put this green jersey on, they simply haven't been able to answer the questions, and they haven't been able to answer the call. And it has become an uncomfortable situation to watch some of these players struggle the way they have.
Fouled by Paul Aguilar. Now, another question to you: has the calm demeanor and passive way of going about things of Victor Manuel Vucetich had anything to do with him being sacked after 2 games?
Probably, and I think it was brought up in the press conference in that when they announced that Vucetich was out and Miguel Herrera was in, it was almost hinted as if Vucetich was not fiery enough, that this team needed to be jolted, that this team needed to be shaken. And, well, it doesn't get more fire and more intense than Miguel Piojo Herrera in Liga MX, and certainly we expect to see a team that, at the very least, is going to be emotional, is going to be competing. And you can see that from Miguel Piojo Herrera, and I think that's the expectation that he puts in his players as well.
Ciña. I thought that press conference was just to announce the next coming of the Ringwood brothers.
Oh, well, yes.
Paul Aguilar.
Yeah. Yes. It's a circus, there's no question about it. I mean, this situation with Miguel Herrera, it may work, it may not work, but whatever the end result is, it certainly has been handled in a very comical manner.
Medina. Iran Mier. Played out to Paul Aguilar. His cross almost met by the Negres. It looked like a handball. From this end, at least, it looked like a handball by Valtteri Moren. And that's what Aldo de Nigris was complaining about as well.
Perhaps a handball by Aldo de Nigris. He does a good job of getting in front of Moren, but doesn't make clean contact on the ball.
Ciña. The Negris out wide. Aguilar, left footed shot, soft shot for Henry Silampa. Let's take another look at that last play.
And again, Aldo de Nigris does get in front of the defender. It looked as Valtteri Moren, as he's trying to dive and block the shot, does block the shot with his outstretched left arm.
It's a foul on Erfan Semeli. Now a free kick for Finland. Miguel Herrera complaining about every single call made by referee Chris Penso. Corona so far not yet tested in the second half. The second goal for Finland came off of a deflection by Juan Carlos Valenzuela and into his own net. Biden clearly offside as Senelli will try on goal over the crossbar. Erfan Senelli, one of the players expected to leave the Finland league. There's a couple of teams from bigger and better surroundings, as he has called them, have come calling in. Ciña. Valenzuela over on the side to Massa Rodriguez. Hernandez. Varinen fighting with Escobosa. Was Varinen, his cross over the crossbar. With the World Cup 7 months away, the U.S. national team starts its preparation for Brazil by facing Scotland on November 15th. They will be playing at historic Hampden Park in Glasgow. They've played each other 7 times in history. They last met on Scottish soil back in 2005. A 1-1 draw with a Josh Wolf converted penalty. Would Mexico want to be in the U.S. position now with a ticket in hand, being able to prepare themselves for Brazil. Certainly the victims of things done wrong over the course of this unforgettable 2013 for them.
And I think it culminated in as embarrassing and humiliating situation for Mexico, in that they get a lifeline from their bitter rival, their biggest rival. The United States national team affords Mexico the opportunity to make the World Cup, even if it is going through the playoffs.
It's Finland trying to make a run. Seneli's open on the left side. We'll pick that point up as soon as this attacking option is done with for Finland. Varinen. Referee was right there. Deemed that Sinja did touch the ball with his right arm, but it was inadvertent. That's the way you say it, right?
I think so. I trust you.
Hernandez. They're looking for Oribe. That could have been his goal of the night. When you think of the decisions that Mexico has made, in particular the Mexican Federation, as we take another look at Oribe Peralta, who's just inches away from the 5th Mexican goal. Each decision made has gone on the other side of the previous one. Chepo de la Torre in hand for the start of a year that was coming off the back of a gold medal won in London 2012. Now he goes to the Confederations Cup. He's kept in charge, takes the team to the Gold Cup and fails to make it to the final, which would have been reaching a success point at least for the Mexican national side. But then they go on and pick Tena for 1 game and Vucetich for 2 games, and teams or coaches that have different styles of coaching.
Yeah, organizational planning and structure when making decisions regarding the national team have given way to spur-of-the-moment emotional reactions. I think that in some ways explains the thought process by the Mexican Federation, by the owners in Liga MX, and all parties involved in making some of these decisions.
The free kick taken by Sinja. Now the Nate is complaining about a handball again as Varinen clears it. Throw in for Mexico. Medina. Iramier had such a great run in the last couple of games that Mexico played in the Confederations Cup. And then Mier stopped seeing action with the Mexican team. Sorsa, Varinen asking for it. Mattila. Heikkilä. Mikko Sumusalo. There's a lot riding on the back of a World Cup qualifying berth for Mexican soccer as a whole. A lot of pride at stake. It's the cross. Cleared away by Massa Rodriguez. Varinen. Somusalo. Hernandez. Sinja. We said a lot of pride at stake, but also a lot of dollars at stake. For more on that, let's go to John.
It's been set around $700 to $800 million if Mexico doesn't qualify. All this last-minute changes and getting rid of Chepo, Bucetich, now Piojo.
Here's the shot. Goes wide.
It has to do a lot with owners being nervous. Mexican soccer is run by a couple of the owners. They have more power to make the important decisions. At the end of the day, a lot of the money generated by the Mexican national team is divided equally by all the teams in the Liga MX. So the fact they brought Piojo, it's one of those like, yeah, we want you to be back-to-back champions with America. Let's put that on hold for a while. Can you come and save us from losing $700 to $800 million, Piojo?
Now, is that the answer, Alejandro? Is that the answer? Bringing in a team that won the title, but yet we have to remember how they won it. They won the title by scoring in the last minute and winning in penalties. Is it the best team around in Mexican National League action?
Well, right now, currently in the form they're in, yes, they're the most consistent team in Mexico. Now, the questions that I have about this sort of idea of essentially dressing Club America with the green jersey of El Tri is the fact that a lot of those players that are featuring now with the Mexican national team were also called upon for Gold Cup competition, and that didn't go over so well with Mexico. Now, the other thing that I think is interesting is the fact that the assumption that club players, because they're successful at club level, they will also be successful at national team level. And we all know that when you put the national team jersey on, some guys respond and other guys become half the players they once were.
Are they worrying too much as well when the rival is New Zealand and the first game is at Estadio Azteca?
No, I don't think they're worrying too much because, to be quite honest with you, I think Mexico underestimated the quality of teams that they were playing in CONCACAF. They underestimated that teams would come into Azteca and get results. They took teams lightly and they were punished for it.
Aguilar, Oribe trying to create a play for himself. Massa Rodriguez gets in front of that ball. By the way, Mexico historically has played New Zealand only 3 times. They've won 2 and lost 1. Their only loss coming back in 1980. Aguilar up the middle.
And Fernando, they underestimated the opposition in the hexagonal, but just as important, they overestimated the quality of their own team. They thought that Mexico, in putting the green jersey and showing up in Azteca, that teams would melt away, and it hasn't happened. It didn't happen in 2013. It hasn't happened, and unless they get it together for the playoffs against New Zealand, it's going to be a very, very tricky time for Mexican soccer.
Escobosa winning it back. Just to add to your point, it hasn't happened in club competition either, as Alajuelense from Costa Rica last week just beat Club America, actually, with most of their starters in action. 1-0 at Estadio Azteca and eliminated them for a run at a CONCACAF Club Championship. That would take him to the World Club competition. As 2 minutes are left here in San Diego. Mexico leading 4-2. Medina, that sort of holding midfielder that Mexico was needing as well. Getting protection on his back, but being able to create when he has possession of the ball.
And a player that has the legs and the physical ability to cover the space. There's no question that Gerardo Torrado is a player that can connect through the middle of midfield. There's no question that Salcido can do the job as well. But they cannot cover the space the way they once did.
Here's Massa. Aguilar. Ciña looking again for Paul Aguilar. Sumusalo first to that ball. Rasmus Schuller. Sumusalo again. Massa. His clearance goes up the middle. Varinen. Turns around and is able to get a shot on goal, but it lands softly on José de Jesus Corona.
From Mexico's perspective, Finland attacking with 2 and 3 players creates problems for Mexico. And that, again, you can see that Mexico struggles defensively with their organization and the way they pick up runners in the box.
Here's Varinen all alone, and right behind him as well, Jussi Vasara. Just to touch on a point that we made earlier in the game, and towards the end of the first half, Mexico is allowing the opponent to come into the box with numbers.
Yeah, and it's not like Finland is throwing 4 and 5 players in attack. It's been limited in attack from Finland, and yet they are able to create opportunities.
Just things that Miguel Herrera will need to touch upon as they prepare the first leg of the playoff against New Zealand. They win it here in San Diego, 4-2, with goals from Rafa Marquez, Peña, Sumusalo, with an own goal, and Escobosa. ESPN's presentation of Mexican national team soccer is brought to you by Hornitos, not just any tequila.
Tequila shots, please.
Which tequila?
Doesn't matter. Any tequila. Doesn't matter. Any haircut. It doesn't matter. Any tattoo. It doesn't matter. Any place.
Maybe we should order Hornitos tequila.
You know what? Make it Hornitos.
100% pure agave tequila. Hornitos, not just any tequila.
Looking sharp, Len. Who's the lucky lady?
I'm going to the bank to discuss a mortgage.
See, you need a loan, you put on a suit, you go crawling to the bank. This is how I dress to get a mortgage. I just go to Lending Tree. I calculate how much home I can afford. I get multiple offers to compare side by side. And the best part is, the banks come crawling to me.
Everything you need to get a better mortgage. Clothing optional. Lending Tree. When banks compete, you win.
Okay.
Awkward.
These prospectors dig to strike it rich.
Hey, look at that.
Now you can too. Go to mydish.com/prospectors to enter the Prospector Sweepstakes. One lucky winner will be sent on a 5-day, 4-night trip to California. Pan for gold to Columbia State Park and experience a fabulous dinner cruise on the San Francisco Bay. 4 others will win a GoPro Hero 3 Black Edition camera.
That is killer.
Go to mydish.com/prospectors to enter and don't miss all new episodes of Prospectors. Sunday nights at 9, only on the Weather Channel.
Goalkeeper, back to you guys. With Moises Muñoz, you haven't had a lot of days with Miguel Herrera as a national head coach, but you have him with Team America. How would you assess his work, and after finally having a game against Finland?
I think we did a great job. It was we did what he wanted to do. We did what he wanted us to do in the field to keep possession of the ball. I think we had most of the time the ball, and we opened the ball when we had to. We attacked their goal. I think the rhythm of the game was also very important because in the first minutes we were on top of them. We scored a couple of goals that gave us the advantage in the first 20 minutes of the game. And we just have to be a little bit more careful on the defense side because those were 2 goals that we shouldn't have had against us.
How different is to put the jersey of America that has pressure, but now putting the national team jersey on? Because 7 of you guys were starters tonight.
It's a little bit different. It's a lot of pressure right now for the national team, but I think we're doing a great job. I mean, if we keep up what we're doing right now, I believe that we're not going to have a lot of problem with New Zealand, and hopefully we're going to come back with a ticket to the World Cup.
Thank you, Moises Muñoz, starting goalkeeper. Back to you guys. With Moises.
Back in San Diego, Mexico has beaten Finland 4-2 in their last serious test before they face New Zealand in the first leg of 2 for a train to Brazil. It all kicks off at 3:15 Eastern on November 13th on ESPN. For Alejandro Moreno and John Sutcliffe, Fernando Palomo waving goodbye from San Diego as El Tri beats Finland 4-2. Up next, Baseball Tonight, presented by Chevrolet with everything surrounding Game 6 of the World Series. So long from San Diego.
Baseball Tonight is presented by Chevrolet. It's all over. The season that starts in late March, February for spring training, and it culminates here one night before Halloween. No masking or costuming the Red Sox, who win the World Series title. Welcome, everybody. This is Baseball Tonight. We have Barry Larkin, we have Kurt Schilling, John Kruk. Let's get to the third inning of this one. In a critical Game 6, the Red Sox had one to play with. Cardinals facing elimination. They walk Ortiz. That was their plan all night.
That was certainly their game plan, figuring that Mike Napoli hadn't seen a lot of action. Johnny Gomes, those guys were going to be able to get them out. Well, you see trying to pitch inside to Johnny Gomes. Once that happened, it just set the stage for the bottom of the order, Johnny, to come through again for the Red Sox.
Yeah, and he threw that breaking ball right there to Shane Victorino that stayed on the inside part of the plate. And Shane Victorino loves to lean in and let that ball hit him with the bases loaded. Michael Wacha couldn't go back to that pitch. And you see Yadier Molina now, look, I'm going to take my time, do some landscaping. I think I got to adjust my wrist strap on my glove. And then, then I'll put the glove back on. And my machine guards might be getting a little loose right here.
All of that done to give Michael Wacha the time he felt he needed to start executing pitches, because he knows the game is on the line right here.
Well, we talked about Michael Wacha and getting guys out in the strike zone. This is what this guy was able to do. What Boston forced him to do was throw strikes, and you can see when he did throw strikes in the zone, they got a hit.
Victorino, a huge fan of that green monster, and he talks about that key hit.
It was every bit of happiness in watching that ball leave my bat, and I'm like, all right, get to the wall, let's score some runs. You know what? This is what it's all about. You live for these kind of moments. You work hard each and every day. I'm going to enjoy it with this great bunch of guys. We're going to have fun. I'm listening to Big Poppy look at me, smile, talk about, you know what? Talk about MVP. Yeah, he's the MVP.
A lot of MVPs in this game. Ortiz, the MVP of the series. Shane Victorino, 2 bases-loaded hits in a single World Series game. The last, Bobby Richardson did it for the 60 Yankees. Here's Victorino. Another MVP in this one was John Lackey, Kurt.
Listen, he comes out tonight, and I didn't feel like he was extra sharp with his fastball. I didn't think he had a great curveball, but when he had to make pitches in hitters' counts and pitchers' counts, he made them. I thought that combined with what I thought was a timid approach from some Cardinal hitters tonight, when he threw fastballs in the middle, they took. I thought those two things added up to them not scoring early, Barry.
Well, this is a team that hit .330 with runners in scoring position during the regular season, but as you said, they were somewhat timid. They were swinging at some bad pitches. The bottom of that lineup, and I think the real difference between the two teams, the bottom of that lineup produced basically nothing, where the Red Sox had an opportunity and they took advantage of it.
And in both of these instances we're showing right here was when Alan Craig and Yadier Molina on base, two guys who don't run very well. Of course, Craig with the injury, and the bottom of the lineup, no hits.
Manager likes his starting pitcher.
His turnaround mirrors that of this organization. He's had such a good year for us, very consistent. The way he reshaped his body goes right into how well he pitched, because he became more athletic. He became more accustomed to repeating his delivery, evident by the reduced number of walks. And I think it was almost fitting that he's on the mound to finish this out tonight. And when you think about the ovation that he got coming off the mound, I think people have seen the turnaround in him. They've seen the turnaround in us. And like I said, very fitting.
Pretty good record for John Farrell. 1 World Series, 1 year with the Red Sox. John, Barry, you guys all touched on it. And having watched the game with all you guys, whenever somebody named Adams, Freese, Jay, or Descalso came up, kind of had an idea what was going to happen.
Well, you see the numbers right there, 145, and you know, it's not the total amount of hits. It was about having productive at-bats, getting on base, you know?
You can look at those Red Sox bottom of the lineup numbers are going to look almost the same, but there are